Chapter 336 Pride of the Ice and Snow Empress. Up on the main stage, the mysterious Imperial tutor, Zhu Zi, Jing Hengchen, and all the other Sun Moon Empire officials all stood up. There was no lack of strong soul masters among them. However, it was their first time seeing something like this. Fusion skill. No, it can't be. This doesn't look like a fusion skill. How can there be so many changes in a fusion skill? Furthermore, the Sun Moon Empire had done a thorough investigation of Huo, Yuao and Wang Donga. There weren't any records of such a transformation being used by them. When the purplish gold figure appeared, the weather changed. The raging storms and rain seemed to stop. The entire stage was illuminated by the purplish gold light. What exactly was this? The bone dragon finally lifted his head again. When everyone else saw the stage shining with golden and silver lights earlier, he had seen the silver eye shining brightly when Huo Yuao's body soul underwent its second awakening. Huo Yuao's golden vertical eye turned into a silver one. The golden and silver lights had turned into an unprecedentedly powerful spiritual shock that had struck him. A strong sense of crisis forced Yanfeng to gather his soul power around his head. Even so, he still experienced a throbbing dizziness after being struck. Even his spiritual sea started to crack, and he lost control of his body temporarily. Eventually, he collapsed onto the stage. Just as he was struggling and managed to stay clear-headed for a moment, he saw something very strange, or rather, miraculous. Is this another illusion? Yanfeng struggled to stand up. As he roared, he tried to bear the intense pain that followed the spiritual shock. His wings opened, and he started to fly again. The purplish gold figure also moved at this moment. He was extremely quick. He reached an unbelievable speed in just a second. However, the figure didn't charge towards Yanfeng, but towards the side. Xia dismantled her cauldron formation at the same time and somersaulted backward in the air. The purplish gold figure was like a bolt of purplish gold lightning that suddenly flashed in the air. It swept past the Skeleton King. A purplish gold palm was pressed against the Skeleton King, who was completely clueless about what was going on. A purplish gold projection flashed before disappearing. The Skeleton King's head exploded with a quiet boom. A white light also shot into his crushed head. Just as it was rising, the spirit fire that attempted to escape was dissipated by the purifying white light. A tragic scream resonated across the entire stage. The Skeleton King collapsed to the ground. His black bones couldn't handle it anymore and were completely crushed. Yanfeng finally panicked. By the time he saw the purplish gold figure again, the Skeleton King was already dead. Even though the Skeleton King was restrained by the 3 live soul crush cauldron earlier, this sudden destructiveness was too frightening. Even his spirit fire didn't escape, and he was killed so easily. The eyes of the purplish gold figure were still shut, and he remained in midair. His dragon wings were open, and the purplish gold glow, as well as the halo beneath his feet, was still flashing gently. The sound of the wind stopped, while the rain changed. The torrential rain seemed to be guided by an invisible force, and gathered towards the center of the stage. The rainwater followed the circular opening at the top of the barriers and flowed down. It was like a waterfall had appeared above the stage. As the rainwater reached less than 200 meters from the ground, it began falling at a considerably slower rate. The rainwater turned into falling snow, and started to engulf the entire stage. He can manipulate the weather. Isn't this something only a titled dueler can do? After being astonished several times, Yanfeng felt as if there were a mountain on his chest. He knew he couldn't wait anymore. The purplish gold figure was like an immortal that had descended upon the mortal world. He used one palm strike to kill the Skeleton King, casting a huge shadow over the back of his mind. As the weather changed, Yanfeng also knew that his time was almost up. The bone dragon lifted his head to the sky and roared. The icy blue light around its body rose once again. The falling snowflakes actually helped to strengthen him. The bone dragon was a creature of evil and ice. At this moment, Yanfeng's body shone brightly with icy blue light that burned like fire. His bone dragon body expanded once again, growing by several meters. After that, he charged towards the purplish gold figure with an unstoppable momentum. It was do or die. He exploited the opportunity before his opponent unleashed all his strength to push for victory. The purplish gold figure seemed as if he didn't care. He lifted his right hand and pointed his index finger towards the sky. Suddenly, the falling snowflakes danced and converted into a huge icy whirlpool descending from the sky. The temperature on the stage fell significantly, and even the yellowish barriers started to turn white. The soul masters maintaining the barriers were under great pressure. It felt like the extreme chill could seep into their bodies through the barriers. What kind of force is this? Is he entitled Duo? Zhang Zan was already at a loss for words. The falling temperature caused him to feel cold, even with his cultivation. Even if someone allowed him to end the fight right now, he would be very unwilling to do so. He knew that he could be hurt if he just ended it like this. Is this really achievable by someone who's not even 20 years old? The bone dragon took only a second to arrive in front of the purplish gold figure. The purplish gold figure lifted his left arm and mimicked a pushing action. The wings behind his back suddenly changed color. One side turned white, while the other became shiny and transparent. There was a captivating light projection above each of the wings. They looked like 2 elegant ladies. Rings of light started to rise from the purplish gold figure's feet. The first halo was blood red and carried 4 streaks of gold. The second and fifth halos were all orange gold. The fifth halo flashed. The bone dragon stopped in front of the pushing left palm and couldn't advance any further. The icy blue flames that were burning on his body seemed to meet with an obstacle. Too, no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't advance. The stage suddenly lit up with a patch of blinding light. However, it wasn't gold and silver this time. Rather, it was white and jade green. Those who were prepared this time saw everything clearly. The white and azure green light came from the purplish gold figure's wings. They appeared as 2 captivating projections that merged together. Instantly, they spread from the head of the bone dragon all the way to his tail. The 2 lights seemed to flash across his entire body in an instant. The patch of blinding light disappeared. The spinning snowflakes above the stage also stopped, and slowly stopped descending altogether. Then they started rising instead. They changed into ice blades shooting into the sky. The falling rain was slashed apart by these blades and turned into snow. Eventually, it changed into a huge icy tornado that whirled its way into the sky. Zhang Zan was in daze as he watched all this. His pupils shrank. Just as the white and azure green lights flashed, he felt goosebumps all across his body. Even he wasn't sure what he would do if he faced such an attack. What kind of strength is that? 8 rings. The attack must at least be at the level of an 8-ringed soul duo. No wonder he was afraid, even though he was a class 9 soul engineer. After all, he didn't possess the fighting strength of a true titled duo. How is this possible? Huo Yuao and Wang Donga have 5 and 6 rings respectively. Their combined strength is actually able to reach an 8-ringed level. The bone dragon opened its mouth and continued to drift in front of the purplish gold left palm. His voice was becoming more and more coarse. Can you tell me the name of this soul skill? Huo Yuao's indifferent and cold voice sounded out. It's called the Pride of the Ice and Snow Empresses. Thanks. Yanfeng's voice suddenly sounded huskier. In the next instant, his body seemed to turn brighter. Following this, his bones started to crack. After a series of piercing cracks, his bones were crushed. When his crushed bones fell to the ground, they turned to powder. A ball of icy blue light shone for a short while around the bone dragon's head before it disappeared. The Pride of the Ice and Snow Empress didn't just destroy his body, it destroyed his soul, too. Yanfeng was completely obliterated. The Tang sect versus the Holy Ghost sect. Of the 4 disciples from the Holy Ghost sect that had competed, all 4 were killed. They were annihilated. On the main stage, the mysterious Imperial tutor suddenly clenched his fist extremely tightly. A very unstable and dangerous aura was exuded from his body. He was like a volcano that could erupt at any time. Jing Hengchen took a step forward and blocked Xu Tianran, protecting both him and Zhu Zi. A fiery red glow shone on his chest. Although Jing Hengchen hadn't fought this Imperial tutor before, he knew how scary he was. Once he erupted, the entire main stage would turn into hell. Jing Hengchen wasn't the only one who sensed the dangerous aura. There were 7 or 8 people who quickly rushed in front of Xu Tianran and protected him as well. There was also another person beside the Imperial tutor. It was a lady completely decked out in black robes. Founder, please calm down. The Imperial tutor slowly retracted his dangerous aura, and his cold and creepy voice resonated from underneath his veil. Bloody Tang sect. How dare they kill my disciples? I'll let them have a taste of what it's like to have their souls burnt and be skinned to the bones. How could his heart not ache? These disciples who represented the Holy Ghost Church weren't even 20 years old yet, but they were all elites. Yan Feng was even his inheriting disciple. He had high hopes for Yan Feng, but now he died just like that under Huo Yuao and Wang Dong's hands. No matter how cold he was still heartbroken right now. He almost lost his cool. Imperial tutor, please calm down. I promise you that I'll hand them over to you, and you can do whatever you want with them. Shu Tianran recovered after a momentary shock. He promised the Imperial tutor from safely behind his subjects. Your Highness, you don't have to go to so much trouble. I'll deal with these small fries myself. I'll send people to catch them. After he finished speaking, he turned around and walked away. As he walked off the stage, he blurred and turned into a streak of black light before disappearing. The lady in black said to Shu Tianran, Your Highness, please understand how the Imperial tutor feels. If he was being disrespectful, I'd like to apologize on his behalf. No worries. Shu Tianran smiled in reply, as if he wasn't bothered at all. The lady in black nodded at Shu Tianran. After that, she also jumped up and turned into a streak of black light, chasing after the Imperial tutor. Jing Hengchen looked a little dismal as he said, Your Highness, the Holy Ghost Church is too arrogant. How dare they act like this in front of you? Shu Tianran maintained his composure and said, Hall Master Hengchen, what's your words? Jing Hengchen was slightly stunned, and he grunted in anger. However, he didn't continue. He understood a little about the Holy Ghost Church. He knew that there was someone so strong in the church that even the illustrious Virtue Hall couldn't afford to offend them. The purplish gold figure finally landed at this point. His icy white and azure green wings regained their purplish gold color. They slowly closed up behind him. A strong purplish gold light suddenly separated from his body, and two golden figures appeared in front of and behind him. The light dispersed and changed into a strong glow that engulfed all three figures. As the glow distorted, Huo Yuao and Wang Dongba reappeared on the stage. Wang Dongba's figure flashed, and she moved to grab Huo Yuao. She prevented him from falling, as he couldn't stand straight with his legs. Huo Yuao was a little pale, but he was in good spirits. There was a steady look in his eyes, and he seemed resilient. He clenched both of his fists tightly. He couldn't hide his excitement. Dongba, we've won. Huo Yuao said with real emotion. Thanks so much for watching this video. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Also leave a comment down below with suggestions on what novels to read.